welcome back. I decided that I wanted to address some of the comments to my last video. Unfortunately, YouTube has a character limit, and I wanted to properly articulate myself on some of the comments. So I'm laying in bed here and snuggled with my laptop, and I thought that now's a good time. It's not ridiculously late, and my house is quiet. So let's read some of these. Anthrax. Now, this comment has been weighing on my mind since he made it 4 days ago. So, this is what he said. The problem here is you are worried about dying. Eve is a game about being immortal. One of the best lessons I learned to learn in the game is to get over the whole issue of losing your ship or getting potted. I believe one of the tutorials tries that. Yes, you lose assets, but it is the risk versus reward even in high sec, so you can make more than you lose before you lose a ship again. And guess what lesson that ganker has learned well, and you just pointed out yourself. T2 drones and interfacing 4 or 5. Done. Look at it this way. You have two potential goals before dying. 1, to make more profit than you are going to lose. 2, to have a bit of fun. Gankers are going for 2, miners are going for 1. Now, I agree with that. Well, wait a minute. I agree with part of that. I'm not afraid of losing ships. That's not what my problem is. Or about dying. Particularly since I have gem clones. I'm not. That's not my problem. Um, one of the things that you have to remember about Eve is don't fly what you can't afford to lose. And really, in any game, although the risk in Eve is more expensive in other games, but it's not game over like in Diablo on whatever hardcore mode that is that when you die, your game is done. Okay? That's not Eve. Okay? So yes, you are immortal. My problem is bigger than not wanting to lose ships. My problem is I don't like being helpless. Some people get in a game and role play, and that's absolutely fine. But I tend to play games somewhat similar to my personality. In real life, if someone aggresses me, I'm not going to sit and wait until help comes. I'm going down with a fight. I may not win. I may die. But the what my goal will be is to at least get something like DNA under my nails and somehow sneak it somewhere so that when my autopsy is done, they'll find the motherfucker who did this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Um, I'm not going to go down without a fight. What Eve is asking miners to do is to sit there and wait for Concord. Now, I admit that I'd get a little bit more satisfaction with Concord blowing them up if the gankers gave a damn about Concord blowing them up in the first place. They don't give a damn. They're in a ship they don't care about, with implants they don't care about. They don't care. That's why they're doing it. So saying, well, you just gotta hold on until Concord gets there and their punishment is Concord. No, that's not punishment at all. To lose something that you expected, that you had every intention of losing in the first place. That's no satisfaction to me. So the root thing is deeper than that. I'd prefer to have guns and scratch them a little bit than to just hold on until Concord gets there. No. And I understand that I need to get my drone skills up. Now that I'm done skilling for, I've mentioned before, just because I have skill points, don't let skill points be an indicator of skill in this game. Because this game makes it easy to have the skill points and not even be in the damn thing, which is, and I've said this 1,000 times, my case, I was recovering. I had family issues dealing with my mother's death and recuperating from double pneumonia. So you look at my skill points and you assume I have all this experience when the truth of the matter is that real life took precedence. And I just supported the game by keeping my subscription up. So, yeah, that really pisses me off when people do that. Okay, I need to change the subject because I'm starting to get heated with that kind of ignorance. Next, um, Chris G said, well, here's the only rational reason I can see CCP does not allow mining barges and exhumers to have weapon slots. The ideal situation is that corps combine their abilities and skills for everyone's benefit, i.e., fighters protect their miners, and miners compensate the corp or fighters for their protection. This fuels an economy within the corp alliance and ultimately the game. A fighter's downside is that they lose out by not being able to reap the large-scale lucrative mining deal time. Okay, on the surface that makes sense to me. But having experienced 4 ships on a mech, why couldn't it be 12 ships on a fleet? You can't protect that. There's no way you can protect that. The way that the mechanism is set up right now, miners are at a complete loss. There's no way to get around that. Unless you're willing to sacrifice, like Anthrax was saying, get T2 drones in interfacing 4. But again, interfacing 4 or 5. And I do have drone interfacing. I do think I do have drone interfacing 5. I'll have to check. But anyway, that's still not going to help you on that many people targeting you. That's just not going to happen. So I guess what I'm trying to find is a reasonable solution to me, if some miners were fit more for DPS than mining, then you could still mine, but you could still shoot too. And I guess like I said, each ship has limitations within it. So it's not like you can have this uber ship that can PvP and mine efficiently. That's not the case. But I don't know. Maybe what's going to end up happening is that people start mining in battleships again. It could very well go back full circle. Okay. Chris Brooks. I'm not sure why you need guns for solo mining. You have D-scan. Keep aligned, and if people start showing up on short or local spikes, it's time to move on. And yeah, someone will eventually warp on top of you. That's what happens when you're out there by yourself. When you hit undock, whether you are doing solo or PvE content, you are accepting PvP. Keep up the good content. Thank you, Chris, for the kind words about my videos. First, let's get a definition on PvP. PvP are 2 people fighting each other. Ganking is 1 person fighting another that can't fight back. Okay? So let's use the right terminology, because that's not player versus player when I'm not doing shit. I'm just sitting there. That's not player versus player interaction. Player versus player is when the player is actually able, in my opinion, that's true PvP. And EVE is known to be a ganking game, and it is to a great degree a ganking game, because the majority of people who gank suck at PvP. But ganking is their way of pimping up their ego. And like I said, people should play the game the way that they want. But Chris makes a very good point about D-scan, and that's something that I do not do. And That's something that I need to improve. So thank you, Chris, for saying that, because you are absolutely right. Just as you go in a wormhole, you're hitting that D scan quite often. I need to do that. You in high sec, you tend to think, particularly if you're coming from other games, that it's like a PvE server where it's safe. And like I said, I didn't expect it to be, like super safe, but I didn't. I like I said, I just don't. I have no respect for gankers. I just don't, because that's not, to me, a fair fight. I prefer to go down in a fair fight than and learn something from it than to just gank. And when I see people trying to show me these kill boards, and it's just a whole bunch of people that couldn't fight back, I think pussy. But some people don't. They're like, ooh. So it depends on who you are, I guess. So on to the next one. Oh wow. Machuki? Much Ookies? I suck at saying names, so I apologize if I said it wrong. But it's Muchookees. For suicide gankers, you should probably move to a mining system that's out of the way, that will often frequent popular systems. Other than that, there's not much else you can really do, except for having really good situational awareness. For low sec, you need to have an eye on local, perhaps even scouts in the nearby systems. They should probably increase the punishment on suicide gankers, though. Yeah, I think it needs to be tuned up a little bit. I think there should be a loss. The security status was their loss, and that's gone away now. So what I really think should happen, and this they will never do this, but I think what should happen is that people with negative status like that should be potted, straight up potted. If you're an enemy and you're an outlaw, why doesn't Concord pot you? I mean, that's, to me, that doesn't even make any sense, that you'd be at war sitting vulnerable somewhere. I've seen gankers sitting up in the station, right, or at the gate right next to Concord in a pod. What kind of war is that? What kind of harsh and dark environment is that? No. Particularly since the security systems are changing. Work your ass off for those tags, or get ganked, or get concorded. I think that's fair. I dare CCP to put that in. I dare you. Okay. Local Man 78. I understand your logic. I've mined in null and low and asked those same questions and said I'm a sitting duck. Here are a few things that I do. Hit the spots that you made before mining, never stations or gates. Tank your ship, avoid belts, and stick to grav sites, and be prepared to lose your ship. It will happen. So get platinum insurance and cross your fingers and hope Lady Luck is on your side. Name of the game is Cat and Mouse. And that goes back to, I mean, what he said is very important there. Hit the D scan like it's a slot machine, and ISK will fall out. That I might actually put on my desktop somewhere. Hit the D scan like it's a slot machine, and ISK will fall out. So, yeah, I definitely need to get on D scan better. But I heard a rumor that CCP was thinking about either removing local or delaying it. So I'm interested with that as well, because would the person still show up on DScan? I don't know. Okay, Psychro X. But you can sacrifice yield for DPS by using DPS drones, not mining drones. By using drone damage amps, not mining upgrades, you can even trade a miner for a smart bomb. Not a good idea in high sec. Or Newt, or a Dronaut, Droneaug, It's just that if you want to hunt gankers, it's a much better idea to do that in a PvP ship. If you want to mine and not be ganked, fit tank. Every ship can be ganked, but in a tank skiff with a Mackinac in belt, you will not be targeted if you didn't anger someone really badly. Um, the Mac that I lost while I was ironically uploading that video uh, was tanked, and it may not have been the best tank, but it was definitely tanked. And but I do think in a skiff they probably wouldn't bother with you, particularly if you're in a higher level security area. And that's another option. Instead of going in lower level high sec areas where they have a better opportunity to gank you, is to move up to the ones and the 9.9s and lower your chances that way. You don't have a good variety of ore. The better ores come with more risk, which it should. I agree with that. I was talking to some of the court mates today, and we were actually talking about mining in low sec. And that's one of the reasons why I'm asking these questions. I admit, like I said, that I haven't always been 100% active and focused in the game like your average normal player who logs in, plays, absorbs, and whatnot. And I have received a lot of misinformation or not optimal information in the game. Like for example, fitting a scanner on a mining barge. If you're thinking right, okay, what difference does it make on your overview? If you have your overview set up right, you know which rocks are in range of you. How much is in each rock really doesn't matter over versus saving your ship. So to me, for my play style, it is not the right decision to have a scanner on there. And I think that there's a better use for that slot, like shield protection, something to protect yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you lose that ship, who gives a damn how much ore was on that rock? You know what I'm saying? But I think that comes with optimal fitting and having the optimal skills. If you have no other skills to, there was a time when I guess very in the beginning where I didn't have anything else to put there. But I think you hear my all kinds of mail coming in. But the truth is I would have preferred to have left that slot empty. And the reason why I say that is because um, I when you have something that's useful or could have a purpose in that slot, then you're not going to actually necessarily look back at that efficiency. It wasn't until I started really looking at the situation as a whole about ship fitting and optimizing fits that I said, wait a minute, I never used this scanner. Why is it here? But if it was blank, if there was nothing there, I would have said, well, wait a minute, I have an empty slot. What should I put here? So for my play style, I prefer to keep a slot empty till I decide what's good to put there, or as a reminder to skill up to put something there, than to put something in there that's not the most efficient thing to teach myself. Everybody has their different quirks with that. So anyway, I want to do this more often because you guys really, give me good information in the comments. And I want to respect the time that you spend writing this stuff out by addressing them, a little bit more. So I'm going to do more of these. So I may end up doing more videos where I'm just talking to you a little bit versus gameplay. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. You guys let me know what you feel about that. But I do think that due to the character limit on YouTube, that a lot of times I don't necessarily articulate myself well. And I do want to give respect and shout outs to those that are giving good advice that other people can learn from. So, with that, I am out of here, and I'll see you guys